the famous ending scene where the little kid is pointing to his crotch region for whatever reason. Like,
no, I knew something was up in that scene.
He's just giving a creepy face, and I'm surprised Netflix has his version.
Drive-by movies. My name is Blaise.
I'm James.
And never have I ever seen Back to the Future Part 3.
Back to the Future Part 3.
Back to the Future 3 came out in 1990 and it concluded Robert Zemeckis' awesome trilogy. It's honestly one of my favorites. So this one is about it's stranded in 1955. Marty McFly learns about the death of Doc Brown in 1885. And he must travel back in time to save him.
So I had never seen this movie before. This was my first time, and I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Back to the Future fan. I think the first movie is like amazing. I think it's almost like comfort food when it comes to movies. Mm-hmm. Like, you could never go wrong watching this movie. If you see it's on, like, you put this on, like, it's so much fun. It's almost one of those perfect like popcorn movies to where everyone loves this movie. No one dislikes it. Back to the Future 2, I know it's like a little mixed. I still really enjoyed that one because I thought it was just so wild having them actually go to like the future. And then I'd never seen Back to the Future Part 3 because as a child I hated Westerns. Like, I just couldn't stand them. It's like something that your parents like and you don't like. I think as I've gotten older and like this, I hear this from a lot of people. It's the same thing where like they enjoy Westerns like with time. They actually really enjoy Westerns. I enjoy Westerns now. So I figured, what better way to watch this than to, watch it on this show. It's my first time seeing it, but as a kid, like before I never had seen this movie, I always like couldn't contemplate why it was in the Wild West. Like, is Doc Brown like really that old? Like, it didn't make sense. And even when they went back, like, he was younger. Yeah. So it was cool to finally understand why like they are in the 1800s. Like, because that made no sense to me. On the sidelines of not seeing this movie, I'm like, did they even like study any? Like, did they even look any of this shit up? They just make it up, But yeah, I have to say I was really impressed with like all the set pieces in this movie. I thought it's a ton of fun. Like, it is a really cool movie. I don't think it like is as good as the first one. Obviously, right. I also don't think the second one is. But I have to say I did really enjoy this film, and I do. If someone else hasn't seen it like I hadn't, like, definitely check this out. It's worth the watch.
Yeah. So you said you like this one less than the second one, though, right?
I would say a little bit. I would say like it goes in the right order for me.
Gotcha. I agree with you. I always hated the Western stuff. But for whatever reason, just when I rewatched it in a more recent year, I rewatched the series about like 3 years ago or something, just because I had seen the second and third as a kid, but I didn't remember them. And I think the third one just felt better that second watch, and I rewatched it for this week, and I think the third one I prefer over the second one for the most part, but the second one like goes to such weird places to where I see your logic though.
I can understand that. I don't know why. Just something. I haven't watched the second one recently, to be honest, though, so maybe I have more fond memories of it than actually would exist if I rewatched it. But this isn't I have seen before and I'm watching again. This is never have I ever.
Right, yeah.
We're talking Back to the Future Part 3. So there's some fantastical stuff in this film that definitely takes you a little bit out of the element, especially this magical train that is converted into a DeLorean itself. I thought that was a bit ridiculous. But there's other things in the film that are, slightly a little more grounded, and stuff that I really enjoyed about it was like seeing this other side of Doc Brown. Like, you're used to seeing him more than, in a little bit of each movie. You actually get a lot of the movie with him this time, and you see the softer side of him, and that's, I think, just a nice little like touch that kind of closed out the series, because this is the third one and the final one that they made. So it's cool to see him and Mary Steenburgen like have this little kind of romantic series involved.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed like that little aspect of this film.
Yeah, I agree though with the train at the end. Like that part's a little weird and stuff. And of course, like I don't know, like I don't know if you notice it, but it's the famous ending scene where the little kid is pointing to his crotch region for whatever reason. Like
No, I knew something was up in that scene.
he's just giving a creepy face, and I like if I had to guess, most likely he's pointing to his mom and saying he has to go to the bathroom. But I just always found that just weird, and just he's giving a really unsettling face. And I'm surprised Netflix. I'm surprised Netflix has this version, because I heard that they re-changed it recently. They George Lucased it.
Oh, I don't. To be honest, I had seen clips of him like pointing and like stuff before, but I kind of forgot about it. I knew something was up with the scene, but watching it back this time in the full context of the movie, when his little face appears, like when they're introducing Doc Brown's two sons, like one of the kids is like normal, and then the other kid just looks scary, like he's like smiling like Chucky or something. I couldn't take it. I was even like, I know something's wrong with this scene, and I know it's that kid, but I didn't know what. I didn't notice that he's actually like pointing down to his, nether region.
Yeah, he's doing this weird thing where he points towards the he's pointing towards the main girl, and then like just points at his crotch right after he does this and stuff for whatever reason. Yeah.
I can't imagine just the conversations that happened in the editing room where like they knew that there was this like a horrible scene, and like or not a horrible, but they knew his reaction, like his acting was just not good, and they're like, we have to use it. We literally have nothing else. Like we did like 80 takes with this kid, and they were all trash. Yeah. Like that has to have been a conversation.
I don't know what it is about Michael J. Fox movies, but just for whatever reason, there's always just some weird thing happening in the background. Same thing happened in Teen Wolf and Back to the Future Part 3 and whatever else there is out there too.
It's like the curse of Michael J. Fox's little kids that act weird as extras and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you had fun with it though and stuff. Like, there's some. I mean, I always found weird in the second and third one. Like, Biff is really funny in the first one, but he's super over the top in his weird ancestor role and stuff. And what you think of him as a weird cowboy villain guy?
It's 8 o'clock, and I'm calling you out.
I thought he killed it. Like I loved like his character was just kind of funny. Even like in the beginning when he's introduced, his name's Beeford Mad Dog Tannen, and when he's introduced, like Marty's like, "Wait, are you Mad Dog?" And he's like gets offended, like, "No, don't call me Mad Dog. I don't like I don't know." He's just hilarious. Yeah. Like he's this bully. He's always been a bully in every movie, but you see him in different versions. And this one is like that ancestor role, like you said, and him still being a bully, but not even wanting to get bullied himself. He doesn't like the way that his name is and how he's been called Mad Dog, essentially. I just thought that was funny. Like his character was really funny. And one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie was seeing those little weird. And that's always the fun thing about Back to the Future is they have that little quirk about like showing, their ancestors, or just like, the for example, like the mom in the first one, like you see her in a different light essentially. Right. But in this one, you have literally Marty McFly like in it, like as his ancestor, and there's just a lot of funny aspects with that. I think they really took it all the way, and like. I can't imagine like with the fourth one what you really would have done in that aspect. It would have just kind of like beat a dead horse essentially. Like seeing it this one, and they have like these wild accents that you can't even really comprehend or understand. Yeah. And his huge Michael J. Fox's huge mustache is hilarious. So thought that was like a nice little touch to kind of end this series.
For sure, yeah. Just the only thing that's missing for me is Crispin Glover, just because he's so funny in the first one. Yeah. And I agree. The first one is like just like on another level to where I can just watch it anytime and have fun with it. Second and third one, of course, aren't as watchable, but they're still fun movies, or as rewatchable, I mean. But they're still fun movies, huh?
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about the movie is probably a lot of people's favorite thing, but just the fact that like Marty uses his name, like he basically dubs himself Clint Eastwood, like thinking he's like, oh yeah, he's all badass because he's Clint Eastwood, but like no one even knows who Clint Eastwood is. A lot of people make fun of the name, right. Like that's a stupid name. Like even Doc doesn't know who he is. The Doc that he's speaking to, hasn't really even known who Clint Eastwood is essentially. So right. It's kind of funny.
No, it was. Yeah, I forgot about that pun, but yeah, that was good stuff.
What if I don't go out there? You're a coward.
6! And you'll be branded a coward for the rest of your days. Everybody, everywhere, will say Clint Eastwood is the biggest yellow belly in the West.
Yeah, it makes me curious what Clint Eastwood thinks about this movie, but I'm sure like you, though, he'd still enjoy this movie for the most part, so glad you finally got to watch it. For anyone who hasn't seen this movie yet, though, best way to help us out is by watching the movie itself. We have an Amazon affiliate link for the movie in our description box below. Do that, watch the movie, and come back here leaving a comment to let us know what you thought about the movie.
If you haven't already, guys, smash that like button and click the subscription button and that notification bell to know when all of our latest videos come out.
That's going to conclude this week's episode of Never Have I Ever. Tune in next week for a brand new video.